Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Written Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining me, and today we have a special guest who has allowed me to demonstrate an aspect of Written Wednesday that I have not before. And, fair warning to anybody watching this, my mom and her side of the family, I know you guys are getting sick of me repeating this, sorry chat, is a ice cream maker from way back. Her whole side of the family, that was always their treat whenever we got together. And while Pap, I love him, God rest his soul, made ice cream for everybody, it kind of wasn't good, and this is, I'm pretty sure, going to be on a drug list at some point because this is absolutely addictive. My mom is the superior cream smith. But, as we were saying, or as I was saying, sorry, me, myself, and I, a while ago I had mentioned making this more of a community affair with Written Wednesday, and for people to bring me forth their works to want to read, or topics and idea of world building, and I'd like to get involved with that. Let me just, hang on. We need to have the good luck charm here. So I will be going over a question that I had been posed by my good friend Vero Og, who is an amazing person, and if he would be so kind as to put himself a link in the chat, I would like to put that in the actual document here so we can celebrate and advertise him a little bit on DeviantArt, where I know him from. He is an outstanding individual who comments almost every night on all the inane little questions I ask across all my social media. Here we are. Ushram has entered the chat. Oh, and now he has disappeared. There we go. Let's just move you down. That's... no. Control Z. Move you down here. Yes, like that. I will just... copy link location. No, wait. I'm going to do the smart thing. Go like that. Copy. And put that right there. So anybody who wants to visit him later, there is the link. But it's not a dog. That is actually an original species from the series I'm working on called a Yami. And for some reason, I've decided in fishing for a mascot for these events that Ushram would be the coolest bro on the face of the earth. I don't know why I'm blowing on it. I know it's cold. So in typical fashion, among the clinically insane, I was getting ready for work today. And Vino, out of the blue, types to me, "Hi. So, for my sci-fi setting, the USA is supposed to have annexed pretty much all of North America and transitioned into something more resembling a fascist military state than a real-world America by the 2120s. Being clearly authoritarian by the 2070s. How do I make this believable? Preferably, I'd even make it such that this new oligarchy doesn't violate the letter of the Constitution, but I'm willing to strike a few amendments if necessary." And of course, when you start your day going to work with such a unique question, I would be remiss in my artistry of writing not to attempt to work on that, because that is a very interesting question for a setting. And I do support the idea of writers writing things, no matter what it is, to challenge thought. Because I've noticed in media there seems to be this cookie-cutter portrayal of most ideas or topics, and they stay in this comfortable mid-zone. Evil people aren't really evil. The ideas that they try and tackle are so straw-manned that they offer no real insight into the topic that they're trying to broach. And for the vast majority of people who get their opinions or formulate their worldview based on the media they consume, it really doesn't prepare them for the world they're going to be living in. So if you want to write a fascist state or something like that, and really give people something to think about and challenge them, go for it. If you want to show what your idea of a utopia is, don't be afraid that you're going to be mocked for it. If you want to show what your idea of a dystopia is, or maybe put the idea that it's a good thing, or it's a bad thing, or anarchy, or whatever you want to do it. Because you add to the conversation. The farther you're willing to go, the more topics you're comfortable writing about, the more you can bring your insight to something, the more you enrich the people around you. You can't be doing worse than what's on TV so far. Ice cream. So, I typed back. Hang on, I know it's in here somewhere. Behind my finger. Oh, hey. LOL. Okay. Okay. But that's a good question. I'm getting ready for work at the moment, so I can't answer this. But I might be able to field some ideas. How much history on the people do you have at this time? Because when world building, it's a good idea to understand the political climate or the mindset of the people that you're world building. Because technology, developments, society, all tends to build on the back of what came before. You don't really have a new idea that just shows up, throws everything else out the window and starts from scratch. With buildings, with politics, with technology, with art, with everything, it's always the same. It builds off of what came before it. So the more you can get those Lego lines together in what you're building, the better. So let's dissect his universe, with his consent of course, and see what we can come up with for a plausible backstory for this fascist future America. In space! After a little bit more ice cream, because oh my god, is this good. Alright, let me just I don't know if you guys can tell this, but I really like ice cream. Welcome to the Ice Cream Wednesday hour. Alright. 2031. After the Extrasolar Dynamics Corporation fields their Ares asteroid defense system, the global power balance shifts as ICBMs can now reliably be shot down. An interesting development in and of itself. That could be a cool setting too. Ice cream on my lips, still delicious. Chocolate, yum. I'm getting some weird vibes here. At one part, reading the birth of a fascist state. Another part, chocolate ice cream. This is some sort of weird thought center. Alright. 2036, the discovery of the Callisto ruins makes it clear humanity is not alone in the universe, and have not been for a long time. Global superpowers and corporations scramble to reverse engineer the technologies hidden there, the most important asset, one that nations sabotaged each other's space programs to get to first, being 9 seemingly intact vessels still in dry dock under the ice cap. I'm liking where this is going. 2040s, rising sea levels necessitates large-scale construction among most coastal cities to keep the sea out. For the first time since the 1800s, global crop yields declines with over 5% annually, causing widespread famine in less developed areas and forcing even relatively well-off countries in Europe, Asia, and the Americas to adopt rationing, because people tend to protest and riot when they are desperate and starving. Catastrophic natural events increase in severity and frequency. All of that is based on the most probable projection from the United Nations Environmental Agency, making it probably the scariest part of the GIC world building. 2049, the Great Floods break through the small-scale wall across the Atlantic coast, the sea swallowing most of Boston Metropole and the Boston Metropole and settlements as far south as Manhattan and as north as Halifax, being greatly affected as well. Millions have to be resettled. On the European side, the Netherlands and Belgium is for all practical purposes erased. 2051. The Cat 9, a tropical cyclone larger than any in modern history, swept past Hawaii and made landfall in California. Cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, goodbye Starfleet, and San Diego being severely damaged and the national economy laid to waste. 2060s, sometime before 2070, Hawaii is yoinked by the Pacific Trade Zone, whether by diplomacy, purchase, or just assuming control in so far not determined. Or just assuming control is so far not determined, and not very important in the large context. Aside from that, I really don't have anything much until 2094, when a nuclear device of unprecedented scale was detonated above the rebellious colonies of Iris. Huh. Alright. Alright, to clarify to anyone that goes to my DA afterwards, the United States of North America aren't the main baddies or good guys. They are just one of the major human powers. And good for you. It shouldn't be so cut and dry. People are multifaceted. Now, I'm going to ponder as I eat my ice cream here. And Joey, as for your question, the story I'm writing will include real dates and events. Does that help? Certainly. Alternate history is a very popular genre. Just ask Cody. But I'm thinking early on, do you want to set this whole thing in motion? I know Fallout has a very good motivator for a more aggressive United States by increasing their need for fossil fuels and putting like heavy restrictions on their resource pool, which kind of forces them to take a more aggressive stance, I suppose. So that in itself is a good place to want to begin. But you want full fash. That's you mentioned that there is a decline in plants, in crop yield. Secondly, with these rising seawaters, you have a need for laborers, cheap and quick, to want to immediately either learn the technology to want to build these walls or just get out there swinging picks themselves. So we have a clear and present need within your narrative for the politicians of this setting to take rash action to mobilize the public to increase the sphere or the pool that they have of available workers and resources in the form of laborers. So, let me see here. All right, Vino, would you be against the idea of this asteroid-based defense system having teething trouble in the beginning? Accidents, friendly planes accidentally being shot down, or military craft on just a normal patrol or show of force being mistakenly targeted and shot down? Like, how accurate, like, is it a key point to your narrative that this is a very accurate machine, or can we get away with a few accidents in the beginning? And as I wait for him to respond, I'm just going to tear into this ice cream like it owes me money. The Ares was supposed to destroy asteroids. So not very accurate, just mostly quick. You had mentioned ICBMs. I assume it can fire back at the planet, correct? And another question. what nation put this out there, or was this like a big UN project? Alright, yes, depends on where it's located, alright? So it can fire back at the planet. Welcome back, Joey. So I'm assuming this is a global technology that people came up with around the same time. The Extrasolar Dynamics Corporation built it for Mars development but sold it to numerous nations. Is there a population on Mars at this time in your story? Yes, Meg. Are you wanting me to share of my ice cream? And hello, Silverbeat. Not permanent. Alright. What was the goal and scope of the colony on Mars? Are we talking automated mining or what? A couple hundred researchers and specialists. What was the parameters of their operations? Oh no, keep your creams. I just tried my suit head on and was hoping I could just put my headset over it, but I cannot. Oh, that's a shame. Heyo, figured I'd stop in for a minute. Well, I'm very glad you did. Thank you very much. I am currently going over world building of Ogg's universe. All right, research, SSTO manufacturing, okay? SSTO, Space Station Terraforming Operation, or is there some sort of acronym there I'm not aware of? Oh, single stage to orbit, okay? Alright. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking at the time, blind optimism and misinformation just completely flooded the media at this time during the colonizing operation when they're setting up for Mars, that they were projecting this as, it is projected within the next 30 years, the efforts there by this mission will allow for permanent residence on Mars and stuff like that. Like, really just, completely overselling it and just stoking up people as much as possible, which kind of took away from the attention to this defense system going online. So it seems, and you can play this any way you'd want to fit your narrative, that they were trying to take attention away from it by keeping them looking at the colony while this weapon system went available. I'd almost keep it classified if at all possible, and that it didn't officially have any name or acknowledgement on an official context until an accident happened, until test firing happened. Maybe test firing happened in an area in the Atlantic Ocean or something like that, and they knocked out a small civilian tramp freighter or something like that, or a fishing boat. And they tried to sweep that under the rug, and maybe a test fire from another nation got very close to an American military base, and when photos in this started circulating online and a call for this started coming out, eventually it was officially peaceful anti-asteroid only. And then let's say we have a few mistakes where it fires on Earth. A couple of the different nations take responsibility for it. Everybody tries to say that it's a big mistake. It was just a the hypothetical test. It was targeting error, things like that. But it sows the seeds of civil unrest. Because people online, especially conspiracy theorists. We've got a big anti-asteroid gun that can turn and fight people on the planet. Like, the biggest thing about this is going to be selling the fact realistically. Like, if you want to show realistically how you'll get to this future projected society of like a fascist North America, the first thing you have to do is establish there is unrest with your people in the setting, and that they are not only desperate for change, but they are willing to try radical solutions against it, against their current establishment, and that they have no faith in their current institutions. So making a problem with this very early is going to be one of your strong suits. I'm lost. What's he talking about? I'm talking about Vino Ogg's setting and how he could realistically segue his desire, or for his narrative standpoint, a fascist North America. Gidge, hey Gidge. So we either hit some freighters and some civilians freak out, or we learn that other countries have this technology and people start wondering, are we going to be dealing with secret wars? Do we have to worry about beams coming down on our heads and just smoking people? For good measure, I'd even throw some test fires near the Atlantic Circle or something like that. Could be a deliberate target test. Yeah, there you go. And you could to facilitate an increased unrest later. You can have officials just really going into how I totally buy a freighter to wreck it. Yeah. Well, again, civilian casualties are going to be a very good way to want to sell your narrative. Testing it around the Atlantic Circle, like officially stating, well, there's nothing there, so we'll avoid the potential for harm there, and I think that would be a good idea or something like that. So that way, when we deal with the flooding and the rising sea levels later, you could have people speculating and freaking out and theorizing that most spectrums of light are beyond the human's eye capable of seeing. So how do we know they've not been microwaving the air or the ice caps to want to try and make us buy specific housing to cull the population? I know a common sentiment I hear a lot of is people think that the upper class are trying to do away with the underclass and clear some of the population, so you could prey on some of that. You could have keen politicians noticing the civil unrest, the lingering fear at the idea of having satellites over your head that could potentially shoot down and wipe out half a continent. Let's see, a Silverbeat. A beam of light seen one night, followed the next day by an island out in the ocean, was discovered to be gone with a massive crater underwater. Yes, stuff like that. Even conspiracy theories. You could have people tying this into Atlantis. Like, oh, this is a lost technology. This is the Roman fire. This is what wiped out Atlantis and stuff like that. And you could have radical politicians of the time latching onto that fear to get elected into positions of power without thinking. It seems like overkill for a point defense system. Well, you get the general sentiment, but the short-term thinking of politicians stoking that fear in this setting at that time would be completely blind to the long-term implications that you're eroding a public's faith in their institutions, allowing for very, let's say, extreme ideas to start cultivating and popping up. And the more you reach out to the extremes, the more you demand that ball go farther. Any test I'd say put it near the Arctic Circle. That way, when they discover these intact ships, you can have people talking about a potential that there were aliens there that the government is aware of some sort of threat that they're just not telling us about, and the test firings near the Arctic Circle were actually an active engagement, having people demanding to know more about this stuff, having maybe riots break out in which police forces are mobilized against the public and people are hurt, which leads to a media firestorm against this government. This is when you'd insert names of politicians, even if they're not going to appear in the story, like Hart Trader, a radical politician who latched on to people's fear and unrest at the time and made big promises about this alien threat, this clandestine government testing of this massive weapon, these classified documents, and getting himself elected up the ladder and using this idea of this hypothetical alien to sort of more increasingly radicalize these people. When the food shortages starts going, have them maybe unofficially, some of the countries start getting desperate, and they start allowing domestic terrorist organizations to pop up, like you and I were talking about ages and ages ago about what was it in Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Section 31. You're really digging into that ice cream. Yes, I am. But you have domestic terror organizations popping up, like Section 31, where they claim no accountability. So when resources start getting thin, some of the trading between these two countries starts getting attacked, or there's theft or something of large amounts of cargo that mysteriously end up in one country or the other, which starts weakening domestic and diplomatic ties, which can lead to that falling through later and the annexation of these other territories later, should you choose to. You have these politicians using these people's fears at the time to get elected, and they've just been handed a hypothetical gold mine. You've just given them an extinct species. Canada hogs all the food. Brilliant. Exactly. Well, they need something for that maple syrup to go on. They'll all have diabetes in a generation if they don't. They need the cakes to go with the syrup. But you've given them the perfect skeleton, the perfect... Oh, you really should... Well, sleep well, my friend, and I'm very glad that you joined. You have desperate people and politicians who have an enemy that they can say was whatever, or they can unofficially postulate. Unofficially, I wonder if... unofficially, off the record, I can't help but wonder if these aliens didn't have the best intentions for humanity. Just go the full nihilist route. Go the full hypothetical. Go the full ancient astronauts movement. Have the church freaking out. Have crazy ideologies and concerns and message boards and all sorts of things just going wild online. And the second any of these websites start trying to shut down the conversation, well, that just proves it was right. That proves I was right. They're trying to silence me. So now you have this deep appreciation for the Constitution and the idea of freedom of speech, like you want, so you don't have to get rid of the Constitution. And this enemy, or this ancient alien race, that they can wonder is anything. And you have these weapons in space and a rising sea level where we've detected an inexplicable increase in microwave radiation along the eastern seaboard. Yeah, you could have an alien climate conspiracy theorist killed on some... Yeah, definitely. And then a shrewd politician who's wanting to get elected will see, I cannot stand for a country or a set of institutions which allow for the killing and targeting of its own citizenry. And if the government will not issue an official statement as to these riots, as to these killings, as to the exact positions of their anti-asteroid defense system that has verifiably been proven to fire on this Earth and be capable of terrestrial warfare, then I believe it should be torn down, because the American people deserve better. Thunderous applause across the sea. Thunderous cheers from every tower. And anytime there is some inexplicable force, some solar flare, some spike in energy, some detectable flaw or breakdown in one of these self-defense grids that requires a nation to launch a satellite or a space shuttle or something to go fix it, then you have politicians or conspiracy theorists being able to say, well, look at that. They're launching. What could they be up to? What weird weapon test were they up to that damaged their system? What kind of secret data are they trying to get? So you have a perfect soup, a malaise you can make of fear and panic and suspicion. The seas rising, that could be global warming, or it could be the Chinese, or the Russians, or the Japanese, or whoever you want in the story. It could be anybody. And in order to get a pool of cheap workers quickly, you use this idea of it's going to be us versus them. We need to be prepared. We need to endure not only to deal with this threat of these aliens, but the terrestrial terrorists and nations of ill intent that we have here on this planet. So you use raw, blind patriotism, fear, and conspiracy from very radical, very power-hungry, very ambitious politicians of the time to radicalize people into a very effective workforce that you can use to build these walls. Food goes missing, maybe you blow up a couple of transports or something like that were supposed to be traveling this cargo to somewhere else, and you blame a domestic terror organization that just so happens to be in affiliation with a different nation. Well, we need to look into that. Our border stretches just a little bit more, and before you know it, you have this self-perpetuating sphere of paranoia and fear and proactive people who deeply believe that these new radical politicians who are stoking their fear and giving voice to what they're thinking are a force coming from them to fight the unknown that they are against, when really all they are is people using their ignorance and fear to get what they want. And after a couple generations of this is going to be seen as the norm. When things get worse, they have the shadowy figure of what the aliens could be, or some sort of political climate against one of the other nations that they can immediately point the finger to and blame, and you just build from there until they've annexed all of the North America. You could even take South America if you wanted like this. But you have a perfect system here where you, especially with the walls, I love the metaphorical representation that they can have of building themselves and closing themselves in to want to protect themselves from the rising seawater, but also representative of their increasing willingness to repulse external threats and just isolate themselves and hunker down. The largest rival of the USNA is the South American Colonial Alliance. And you can mess with ideas of fuel trades or something like that going wrong, shipments going missing, the general things that they've used thus far to try and bully their way into their position of power, and the natural disasters you have. The immediate response can always be, especially if you have your leaders working with the media, like if you make that a thing that's been happening, like they had contacts in the media that they've been using to give them favorable coverage or voice their hypothetical opinion. They just an overabundance of opinion pieces in place of fact and good reporting. Because then no matter what, you've got an immediate response to anything that happens, and so long as you do a convincing job at pointing the blame and making it our team versus theirs, you've got free reign to make the setting you want. So accidents, slick politicians with connections to the media, giving them favorable coverage and preying on pre-existing fears and stuff like that. And I think you've pretty much got your setting there, especially with the aliens, and especially if there's attempts to sabotage the other space programs from the other countries trying to get this technology. Cue in-depth explanation. Oh yeah. Basically, I'm throwing out ideas for Venno Ogg's universe because he wanted to create a fascist North American power in his sci-fi setting, but still have it believable. And pretty much believable, I've seen mistaken in a lot of modern media as just meaning grim, dark, depressing, sad, murder, death, kill, nothing happy, happy endings don't exist, boo-hoo, I was never hugged as a child. You know, that kind of stuff. But really, any world building or any setting you create can be believable with the right amount of exploring where the head of the populace is at the time. So I think that would be the best place for you to want to take it. But that's just my opinion. Indeed. So I hope that helps. And eventually, I am actually going to try and do some typing tonight on my story. Oh, I love ice cream. Especially homemade ice cream. Now, let's see if I can't energize up. Let me just open OBS here to make sure it does not look like I kissed the wrong end of a buffalo. Brother, doth thine even scribe? I doth indeed. Gidge, but I like grim dark. Well, I am going to feed you to the giant horned rat. You want grimdark? You may swim with the Skaven. Now, in my book, I don't know if I mentioned this last week because I can't remember if I had gotten this far last week, but we are actually quite further along, or more so than what I thought. I had started a new chapter, meaning after this I have 2 more chapters to go and we are all set. Quill Dragon, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad everybody's joining in. All I need is a Shih Tzu. Fam, I can fight rats. Okay, fair enough. Secondly, ow, I'm getting flashbacks to my hamster. Greetings, you should wear your fedora. Rats give me a golf club. Okay, this chat's getting a little bit aggressive. Or my blowgun. I want to imagine you mean hairdryer and you're just running after all the rats, threatening them with an atrocious perm. Give that rat a perm, says Gidge. Yes, right on the money. I'm pretty accurate with my blowgun. I can give dreadlocks at 20 meters. Jiggeth, how are you tonight? Unless we want to go the full Nordic route and call it Yiggeth. Oh yes, all the working you've been doing, Katie. Excuse me. Wow, but I did want to go up here real quick because there's a bit of my own world building, or dialogue specifically, I wanted to adjust. What the medical folk can call an upper respiratory infection. Oh no! So you've been working openings and closings for the last 2 days, and you have an upper respiratory infection. That's horrible. Thankfully, my face no longer feels fractured into quarters. Yeah, that's no good at all. That's why I have my cranberry juice here. I need to keep my immune system up. Ah, glorious cran. You had to call in sick yesterday. Oh. I'm so sorry to hear that. I do hope you're feeling better. And I do appreciate that you came to the stream, but if you do need to rest, I will understand. Hashtag free worm. What else can you do when your voice sounds worse than Gollum with a head cold? Ooh. I had a day that ended well, but started out stressful. I climbed into the same machine 8 times to clean it out within 6 hours. Ooh, goodness. I know I've not been sleeping the best, but aside from that, I'm pretty good, and I've got my electrolytes full brain here that I'm going to be using to try and stimulate my brain. Alright. Let me see if I can track down the bit of dialogue here I did not like. Also, has anyone ever had an idea they hold dear but feel incredibly discouraged about? Also, Cranberry, I see you two are a man of class. Yes! Cranberry Master Race! I've been all but injecting lemon, ginger, and mint tea into my veins for the past 48 hours. That might be the source of some of your discomfort, because I don't think ginger and lemon go good in the veins, and I'm trying to ignore Quill Dragon's quote there of Cranberrians. The Cranberrians. The Cranberrian race. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No, YouTube's going to eject me like a bad head cold now. Oh, that explains why they're so bitter. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh yes, your Xbox, or your ex-boss. If I can get a few more subscribers and a little bit more interest in my channel, I definitely want to do a piece about your ex-boss, because I have some thoughts about his business practice, him personally, and his, air quotes here in his own words, novel, that I'd like to put out in the realm of video discussion. I take it that video will be demonetized. I don't have the metrics or the numbers to even think about monetization as much as I joke about it. Worm says, "Dear Gidge, this is how I feel about your ex-boss. To quote from Monty Python in the Holy Grail, your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. Now go." Quill pops in. "Now go away, or you will be insulted a second time." Transcribe that one. Mind your own business. He says he's already got one. Oh god, that movie is golden. I can't imagine I'd rather have an Xbox than an Xboss. Yeah, that's true. That's sad. Gidge, I see you too are a man of class. This was it. What don't you like about the... Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I think that's... I'm happy with that now. Like the dude felt like a fever dream. Yeah, I'm going to remain distant here professionally, so I can come back to this later. Thankfully, those horrid memories are being drowned out by thoughts of a clucking, overweight wyvern. Somewhere out there among the stars, Jamin and Vashta laugh hysterically. Bro, you know where I'm coming from. There are two Halo posters behind you. Yeah. Yeah. The days of fan fiction. So I have tried putting King Arthur in space again. Did he have any better luck breathing this time, Quill? Did you give him a helmet? Asks Gidge. These are the important questions here. Laugh and bemoan your fates, as the Chungus doth land in your comedy. You know, Katie, I'm going to have to probably nod and accept the idea of the fever dream perhaps affecting you too. Free Rokusho. The joke's on you, Quill. Sush is not here to back you up. Your Gidge, hashtag free King Arthur. Your claims for Rokusho are only at half their previous glory. And before Sush magically appears in the stream, like right now. Excuse me. Hashtag give King Arthur a helmet. Hashtag free Ushram. He is perfectly free. I'll have you know, he's right down here doing his own thing. Also, it involves Dragon Riders. Also, Pern, Halo, and Mass Effect. This is a very strange stream time. Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, they usually are. Ushram, yep, there he is. There is the man of the hour himself. Just expand into infinity. There we go. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Cue the sunglasses drop, but in reverse, we're going up the page. So can I share my idea, or will it perish in the cold vacuum of Gidge's humor? Share away, but I cannot guarantee whether or not it will perish. I did a cover for a book about dragon riding, but I'm contractually obligated to say nothing more than that. That sounds a lot worse. That sounds... I know what you mean, Gidge, because the person hasn't released the book yet, I don't think. But that statement on its own don't sound too good. Was it about a place called Burke? Quill, help me rein in this conversation. Tell me about your idea. One does not simply mention dragon riders. Wait, my idea? Oh yeah, the mention of dragons distracted me. Hang on. I have the appropriate certification here to bring you back to reality. Is that? There we go. I believe my credentials are in order here for you. I've got you covered there, buddy. I've got you covered. Are you good? Just smell the smelling salts of dragons, buddy. Come back to me, Quill. I burned out again. I've got no idea what to draw. Take a page out of Gidge's book and I guess Quill's book. In lack of anything to draw dragons and just don't stop drawing dragons ever. Yeah, see right there, Gidge. Draw dragon? When Gidge doesn't know what to draw, she'll draw a dragon. You know what? Here you go, Meg. Draw a dragon horse. Caleb, it starts out with the son of Preston Cole and Lyrene Castilla. Preston Cole. I hear Cole and I think I hear Preston and I think Prescott. For a second I was getting Gears of War vibes. LOL, I just always end up drawing the same dragon. Draw him like one of your French girls. Like he's breaking the fourth wall and aware that you're drawing him again. I think that would be hilarious. I draw dragons because I can draw them good and I can draw them fast. Yes, you can, Gidge. Actually, let me see if I can get one of Gidge's pictures of dragons. I'm just going to finish my cranberry. Ah, delicious. Alright, ah, yes, here we go. Let's just show off one of Gitch's dragons here. They are very awesome. Do the blue one? You know it. You know that is the one I'm going to show. It is just awesome, and watch as I destroy it by JPEGing it. Yeah, I have JPEG'd the living heck out of it, but it looks it looks amazing. Here, I'm going to not ruin the very nice picture. Let me just click this. Oh yeah, the Cobalt Speed Paint. Oh, wait, that wasn't right. After so much struggle to... Dang, that is a good dragon. There we go. And she's done a couple other good ones. Let me see here. Is it... Where's that one in... there's the one in flight, kind of. I like this one too. This is a personal favorite of mine. Let me just... Boop. 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 There we go. That's one of the ones I really like. I'll resume my idea after the surveying of dragons is complete. You like them? Oh my god, yeah. I think this is one of my favorite ones. My Frenchman drawing dragon. Oh, that is a lovely dragon. That is a lovely dragon, Meg. That does. That looks great. I should do an art gallery for all my friends at some point. I want to take and do art streams of my digital art attempts at some point. I think that'd be fun to stream. Like, just make it a Tuesday thing or something. Show me the French dragon. Okay. You want the French. You got them. Carbonated cranberry. Excuse me. Want to do what the carbonation wants to do. Let me just boop, boop, boop. Blammo. Right there. So like the Temeraire series. He has been drawn like one of the French dragons, and above which I love his hair because it reminds me of my own in length and abundance. He is by Earthsong on DA. I'd rather be drawn like that dragon there. Ooh, I like his design, says Gidge. She's going to draw him all like and detailed and just throw it Meg's way. Here you go. Me too. He puts it up in a bun though. So back to your back to your idea then. Okay, so long story short, the protagonist is Arthur Robinson. Arthur Robin. Excuse me. Let me try that again. So, long story short, the protagonist is Arthur Robinson Cole. He is the son of two heroes, one for the UNSC and the other for the URF, United Rebel Front. He agrees with the idea of human unity, but he desires to grant self-governance to those systems that desire it. Thus, he schemes to unite the rebels to force the UEG, the Earth government, to reform governance all across human space to avoid hostilities. Along the way, he will damage Oni severely and take dictatorial powers to personally oversee the transition from a federal government centered on Earth to a more decentralized one based off the HSA Excalibur, formerly the UNSC Infinity. He grants a new name to the reconstituted body which unites humanity's militaries and explorative endeavors into the Human System Alliance. This is where my idea sets itself up for a Mass Effect crossover. With regards to Halo, only 1 and 3 are canon for the timeline. Everything else is up to my discretion. Yes, sir, you are a man of class. Because 343 Studios, 343 Industries, anything after Bungie is kind of absolute dog Tootsie Rolls. I do not like what they did with the Halo series. I do not like the new art direction. And I personally am thinking about revisiting my Halo fanfiction, soft rebooting that whole universe, and keeping it within my comfort zone of what is canon, just to prove that you can indeed push the narrative forward, you can indeed create stories in that universe, and that 343 can happily dine on my posterior. Also, there are elements of Pern, just because I like dragons. I believe they had some good ideas, but I have other intentions. Dang, sorry, but that struck me as kind of comical. Well, indeed, even Bungie was starting to lose me. I think it was clear. Oh, Gidge, the new art direction made me sad. Well, yeah, when you try that hard to change yourself from an easily recognizable brand to something entirely different, why are you even making that series? It's clear your head's somewhere else. Have you listened to the sound direction from Halo 5? Finished the fight over 10 years ago now. Yeah, it was finished. Now we have a whole new fight called Corporate Greed. Halo 4 and 5 didn't happen. Changed my mind. Exactly. Thank you, Vino. Thank you. Because by the time of Halo Reach, it was obvious that Bungie wanted out. They wanted to do different games. Again, in my personal opinion, Halo Reach was a tech demo for the first, what do you call it? What was it? Destiny. It was a tech demo for Destiny, with the enemies climbing up on top of the buildings and stuff like that. While I love the MC, he won't appear in my entire fanfic, and perhaps not a subsequent one because MC is napping after saving humanity several times. Agreed. He served his purpose. He left his mark. He was a good guy. But you don't need him for your fanfictions. I use the Spartan 3s in mine. They're an underappreciated element of this universe. But to what I was saying, and I don't want to leave a thought unfinished here, because thoughts are very aggressive creatures by nature. Halo 5, the sound direction is wrong. They pile on different layers and elements, and they're not bad sound effects. But they don't work. Take, for example, the Halo 5 Ghost. It's got like the weird, like, noise that like the Ghost has, where it has like this weird ethereal quality, but on top of that they layered like this like electrical storm, like the things, like it's got some sort of like terrible power leak or something, and it's got like this weird thunderstorm sound effect on top of it. It's noisy, it's obnoxious for a Ghost. Again, like as far as a weird thing goes for a sound effect, it's great, but not for a Ghost. Half of what made the Covenant technology so very silent, or so very scary, was how very silent it was. You have the Banshee flying in, doing that like moan it did when it flew, and that of the plasma where it comes flying in, and you know, oh no, someone fired a little green thing, I'm gonna die. The fuel rod noise, and then it could disappear, and it would be dead quiet, or you'd be walking through a level and you'd hear that of the Wraith accelerating, and you know, oh no, that's one of those purple tank things. Now in Halo 5, it's just like this never-ending source of noise where it's just like it's like, that's not really scary. That's just endless noise in my ear. It doesn't fit for the Covenant. If you wanted to say that there was some other alien fleet out there that the Covenant had fought off or broken down, or that the Kigyar pirates had been harassing, if you wanted to do anything else, those sound effects would be fine. But they don't work. I want a vid where you do all the Halo sounds. What does a church have in common with Star Wars? The pews. Okay. That's right. Ha. Great one, Quill. 343 didn't know if it sounded like anti-grav, drones, or rockets, so they said, frack it. Make all of it. Yeah, the sound effects like space raps before somebody drops the mad lyrics with a high-pitched alien tongue. Gonna head out. Have a good time with your theories, guys. It's been awesome. See you later, Meg. It is always fun to have you. So I am... I guess I'm just going to continue... I'm just going to start my gradual metamorphosis into the guy from Police Academy. Where this is just going to be an endless fleet of sound effects that sound awful. Am I the only one looking for something special on stream before Christmas? Ooh, don't you be looking. Don't you don't. And don't. And furthermore, don't you try and ruin the surprises. The surprises are mises. You'll get to enjoy a Christmas stream, don't you worry. There'll be things and stuff and junk and things and stuff and junk. I meant hoping for a surprise. Yeah, no. Excuse me. Surprise me size Jesus. I never took you for a devout man, Quill. You won't find things truly special by looking. They'll find you through introspection. Whoa, Vino, that's some sagely stuff. I'm gonna write that down here. And you think I won't, but I have. Let me show you something in the book here. Let me just show you a little. Hey, Ushrim. Let me show you a little something in here. You think I won't write down your sagely talk? But I've been doing that from DA because the stuff you say is so awesome that I will definitely be looking back at it later. Right here, you might remember this piece there, Vino. But that was a good idea. Don't worry, I'm full atheist. That's fine. I am Reformed Baptist Christian. I don't believe that religious affiliations need to affect anything for people to want to get along with one another. I am A-okay with however you choose to live your life, so long as you're not killing or hurting anyone and not breaking the law, because the law's kind of important, and I ain't willing to go to jail for nobody yet. We ain't that tight. Give it a few years maybe, but as it stands now, no. You know, I had to turn Katie down when she tried to open her illegal quilting operation and tried to set up her quilts in former moonshiner territory. Her illegal arts and crafts ventures. You know, I had to say no. You've not lived until you've tried to smuggle a car full of doilies, of fine frilled doilies across state lines. As if I know how to quilt. Shush, you're breaking the illusion! I'm looking at this energy drink and just thinking, do I need it? Like, is that something I need in my life? Also, I love that word. It is on the same pandetic level as the word skulking. Ooh, skulking. That's a good one. Skulking's a good one. No energy drank, bad Caleb. Yeah, no, I'm seriously questioning it right now because of how zany I am at this moment. I also tried to create my own buffalo dip tonight. It was awful. I got through the first couple bits of it and it was like, oh, that isn't so bad. But it was one of those things, the more you ate, the more you went, oh, that's not right. No, it's just mayonnaise. Yes, Caleb, skulking is a good word. My writing professor and I both approve of it. Heck yes. Ramshackle is also a funny one. Ramshackling something together. Also, too late for drinks? Preposterous. I go now to get some rum and Coca-Cola. I recently got copy struck for that, by the way. The song you sent me, drinking rum and Coca-Cola, like the old-timey song. I didn't think I'd get hit by that. But no, YouTube's just like, hey, come here, give me your lunch money. Is it bad that I may seem occasionally intimidating because I don't smile like a goon all the time? No, because it just makes your smile all the more precious, and it makes the conversation and time with you all the more special, because I have taken the time to get through the vetting process. I'm not one of the people on the outside looking going, oh, that person's not smiling, they must be a serial killer. I've got to know you better than that, so I get the reward of seeing the Katie smiles. And they are heartwarming. Friendship vetting. Well, it's 3 a.m. here in Sweden. You be the judge if that's too late or too early for energy drinks. I say it is the right time for them. So many people ask me why I don't smile and if I'm happy. Yes, I smile. No, I'm not happy because I'm not smiling right now because I have someone asking me if I am capable of the basis of human emotions. Bro, you're reminding me of the smile lady. Oh my god! Gidge, would you mind coming in here and sharing the story of the smile lady and how you prepared for that? I want you to come in here and have your moment to want to describe that, because that's just absolutely hysterical. Because I want the visual comparison of like the skinny bone lady that you are, and just the progression and your thought process for that. It is too good to pass up. And I will kindly invite you here for a celebrity guest appearance on the stream. I kinda mind. I don't grin like the village idiot 24/7. Yeah, the Prozac kid. All right. Well, if you don't mind, Gidge, then I'll tell the story. So there's a flea market that we go to very consistently. It's where I got some of my silver pieces from, and this one old lady confronts Gidge. She sweeps up alongside her like a little geriatric ninja out of nowhere, right? And she starts telling her, oh, you know, you should smile more. You're much more beautiful when you smile. You're not dressed without a smile. A young lady should smile. You need to smile. Now let me see you smile. Let me see you smile. Oh yeah, it was Black Friday. They're like, everything's full everywhere, and like this lady is just like, everyone's busy, but this lady is like right up on Gidge, stemming the tide like a busybody version of Moses parting the Black Friday sea to harass Gidge about smiling, and she will not stop. Mom was somewhere else. Gidge is left there alone with this lady, and I don't know if Gidge awkwardly smiles to like just get away from her or not, but yeah, Gidge says her eyes were fracking vacant. But eventually Gidge gets away from her, and I remember it rubbed Gidge such the wrong way that she's like, I hate being cornered like a doe. I don't like feeling like a prey in the wood. Like, and Gidge, no matter what emotion Gidge is trying to convey, she's always intimidating. Like she says here, she was more shy at the time, but no matter what, there's always like this lingering fear of like how much of the spirit in the back of Gidge's head is boiling with rage, and at what point is that just going to spray out of her eyes like those lizards who can cry blood. So she comes home and she's like, I'm not going to be harassed by that lady again. I don't like it when I'm cornered. So she starts doing like 100 push-ups every night, straight Saitama stuff. And to top it off, since she decided like it was my shyness that gave this woman this opening, I'm going to correct this. She watches compilations online of all the best drill instructors from the United States Marine Corps. 200 push-ups every night. She worked her way up to 200. We're overachieving. So she's got these little skinny arms going on overdrive. She's just there pushing up like you would not believe. Getting herself like bone toned. Like she didn't bulk up, but it was it was bone toned in through here. You could tell she was serious. And after all these, like, you are a disgusting meatbag, stuff like that. Like, I could tell Gidge was ready to go. Yeah, the drill instructor's videos of people yelling, and videos of people yelling, and she had watched like all the Full Metal Jacket stuff. She can quote to this day forward and backwards all of R. Lee Ermey's lines from the movie Full Metal Jacket, and I could tell that there was a skeletal storm a brewing. She was just there waiting for her moment for this lady to come back. And I guess the primordial portion of this old woman's brain must have kicked in like a rabbit in the woods when like the smell of cougar hits the air, and she just vanished and we've never seen her again. So Gidge never got the opportunity to just like drop and give me 20 maggot to this smile lady. So out there somewhere is this little old deranged lady demanding of people that they pay her a toll of a smile before she retreats back to underneath her bridge. And Gidge is going to be like the protagonist of that arc of the life story of life, and is just going to decimate her into a little smoldering charcoal of a human body. It's going to be amazing. And I wish the story had a more satisfying conclusion, but as it stands now, this story is to be continued. This is only the first chapter of Gidge versus the Smile Woman. This is arc 1, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good when it lands. I was ready to throttle her, LMAO. Oh yeah, Gidge was prepared to give her a hand hug to the Thrapple. It kind of puts me in mind of that, I can't remember his name. But I know he does all the impressions, and he did the Yo Mama jokes. He has the whole animated channel for that, but I know he did Such His Face Owes Goofy Money. Is just like, I want my money, Daniel. Yeah, that's what it was. I think it was Daniel. It's like, this is my choking hand. that whole series of vines is a gift to this world. But yeah, that was pretty much. If you want to envision what would happen if Gidge ever encountered that woman again, I recommend hunting up that. No, it was Damien. I want my money, Damien. Yeah, just hunt that up on YouTube. Damien owes Goofy money, and you will understand what the conclusion of Gidge versus the Smile Lady is going to be. Ugh. You know what? I think my throat's about half shot. I'm quiet and I have a little bit of a resting bee face. No, you just look like very intense and very stoic. But I really don't like it when random strangers think they can push me around. I apply manners, and they should too. I've been followed home before by a creepy old guy in a truck from a gas station, no lie. I was having a little bit of that too. Oh my god, what did the dude at the gas station want? Well, I ended up passing on the rum and settled for a moment of reflection instead. With that stated, I must bid you a fine, classy folks, a fine evening. Well, we bid you adieu too, Quill. It's always fun to have you. Oh, the resting bee face? No, you don't. The dude at the gas station only saw me come inside to pay before I had a chip card. Get us back in the atmosphere. Like her. Signals. Fare thee well, fellow dream weavers, and fare thee well, Quill, into the fine ethereal yonder you head. Alright, Guy watched me go into my car and left like 2 to 3 minutes after I did. Must have figured I wasn't playing around when I started hitting like 65, 5 minutes before I would have been to the road my house is on. Oh, so you sort of dusted him? You gave him the point, stop following me, I'm aware of you. Gas, 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 says Gidge. I took a back road and peeled around several curves like mad, only to get behind my house and kill the car when convinced I was totally out of sight. Not bad. Alright, well, I know I didn't do a lot of typing, but we did a lot of good writing, I'd like to think. World building with one another. Vino, it was great to have you here. Gidge, it is always a pleasure. Katie, thank you very much for sharing the stories. I'm pretty sure the buffalo dip is looking to kill me. Still waited like 10 minutes to be on the safe side. I packed a 5-ish pound flashlight in my car at that time, so I would have been totally defenseless. Great to be here. You're welcome, Caleb. Okay, so I bid you adieu. Keep a kind state of mind. And above all, keep true to your dreams and keep pressing on. You'll be where you want to be one day. And I know whatever creative venture you want to express yourself through, you're going to be able to do it if you practice. Talent doesn't come overnight. Thank you very much for joining me. And I bid you a fond farewell, adieu. Goodbye, Auf Wiedersehen.